This month, I am giving my focus and my attention by acknowledging that huge elephant that's dab smack in the middle of the room. And I'm inviting all of you to join me in getting authentic and real and intimate so that we can have a conversation about something that we all do, every single solitary one of us, that we all do it incessantly, at least to some degree or another. But before I tell you what that is, I want to make a point so that you remember that we are each a microcosm of the world and that we are each a contributor. And as contributors, we have witnessed some insanity in humanity, but that's all changed. The ship has sailed in a different direction, and the ship signifies hope and progress. And this change is becoming more evident and emerging in the practices of meditation and mindfulness and yoga and in the mainstream. And acts of kindness are now being reported not only on the internet, but on mainstream television. There's empowerment because there's peer-to-peer communities and economies evolving and shared resources. And there are peace vigils going on all around the world where people are synchronizing their clocks and praying and meditating all at the same time for worldwide peace. And this is becoming commonplace. It's not some obscure thing for some esoteric group of people. It's everyone, everywhere, wanting this. This is what we aim to create. So what is this thing that we do incessantly? Well, it has to do with a part of us. It's our left brain. Our left brain is really meant to be a faithful servant. I think it was Einstein that said, our intuition is our sacred gift, and our rational mind is our faithful servant. But for so long, we've been led around by our nose, by our left brain. And what our left brain does to keep us in bondage of self is it has this mindless, noisy, incessant chatter that just goes, it just doesn't stop unless we practice putting it to rest. So this is how I kind of see the left brain and the right brain. This is my vision of it, okay? Think of two boxers in a boxing match, and the left brain gives a left upper hook, right? The right brain, you know what it does? It simply, with grace, makes itself scarce by floating out of the way. And the right brain just allows the left brain to exhaust itself and wreak havoc until it doesn't have any energy left. And once it has no more energy left, the right brain resumes its presence. See, the right brain is always there, but it doesn't get in the way of the left brain. It's kind of sitting in the background. The right brain I kind of think of as a rebel. It's the challenger. It always wants to challenge the status quo. It is always wanting to recreate itself and expand itself into new and greater versions of itself. It's always flooding my consciousness with ideas and imagination and creativity and inspiration, and my intuition flows through that. And it's always swooning me with loving gestures and implanting mantras, words of wisdom like LOVE, love opens voluminous energy. It tells me things like, light is the delight that comes from the right. It's always got such a musical and beautiful flow to it. And so I follow that pull naturally and organically, and pull stands for pure, unconditional, loving light. So I follow that pull, which is all of that wonder that comes through my right brain, and I pull it down. And then I hand it over to my left brain to implement. And that's where I get a little bit of a pushback. But I've come to know that that pushback is really symbolic of being alive, of realizing that that friction, that struggle is letting me know that what I'm giving birth to is the release of misbeliefs, of indoctrination, of conditioning, of dogma, and a recollection, a surfacing of my remembrance, my renewal of what's underneath, the things that make my heart sing, that make my world rock. And so when that friction comes now, I realize it's because I'm in movement. I'm on the precipice of change. So what has emerged from this is a process that I call P to the 5th or 6th power. There's a few stages. So this is what happens. Okay. So I'm following the pull with all of that good stuff. And then I hand it over to my left brain, and that's the pushback. And then what I do is I settle down and I pause. And I take a breath. And then I practice my power. I watch. What was I thinking of? Where was my mind? Was I daydreaming? Was I dreaming? Was my mind relaxed when I was in the pull? And then I watched when I turned it over to the left brain and what kinds of things were being said when I pushed back. And then I pause. And I remember that that pause is instrumental in practicing my power. And that's the process. And a couple of other things that you can do is review two things. One, over your lifetime, what things do you deem to be successful in? Because undoubtedly, you had some pushback during those times also, but you didn't pay it much mind. You were more overcome with the wonder and the passion of what it was that you aimed to create, that you didn't pay attention to the left brain in those circumstances. And you overcame it. And also, think about people that you admire, that you hold in high regard. And look at where they started out in life and look at where they ended up. Don't you think that they had some pushback too? So it's all worthwhile. It's all to create a new, it's not even recreating a version of yourself. It's really just unveiling who you really are, right? But these are really good tools. So follow the pull. When you get the pushback, pause. Practice your power by watching your thoughts of where you went and then get back into the moment. This will work. Believe me, I have such a stern left brain that likes things coherent and exact and linear, and it gives me quite a hard time. But I know it's there because it loves me and it wants to create that pressure to push me forward even more. And I know that yours loves you too. So soothe it, love it, and join forces between the two, between your right brain and your left brain. Allow them to join forces, and you will create whatever your contribution is in the world. It will be your earthly expression, and you have the ability and the capacity to do it. So go out there and rock the world. Thank you, and namaste.